He's gonna bring him back. It was already hard enough to want to live. They were my only motivation to get us out of it.
And the baby was, I'm guessing, like a year and a half old.
According to police, the couple found their son dead in his crib. That's when the fire department and police responded to render medical aid.
We saw the commotion, the police rushed in the door. We watched the baby come out, lifeless.
The officers never forgot the moment they stepped into the dimly lit house on March 16, 2023. Even years later, the first sensation that returned to them wasn't the sight, but the smell, an overwhelming, rotting heaviness that clung to the back of their throats. The home belonged to 26-year-old Jonathan Matthew Cheat and 29-year-old Sarah Pearl Zaitona, a couple already known to law enforcement due to repeated welfare checks and domestic disturbances. But this call would quickly become one of the darkest they had ever responded to. When the officers crossed the doorway, a thick, stagnant stillness hung in the air, the kind that instantly signaled something was terribly wrong. Trash layered the floors, clothes were scattered everywhere, and the sound of frantic barking echoed from deeper inside the house. As they moved through the narrow hallway, stepping over debris, an officer motioned toward a small bedroom. Inside that room, in a neglected crib surrounded by filth, lay the body of a 2-year-old boy. His appearance made it instantly clear he had been deceased for a long time. The officers froze, absorbing the sight, each one overwhelmed by a mix of grief, disgust, and disbelief. One of them muttered a reaction under his breath, a stunned confirmation that they were witnessing something horrific. Then immediately chaos followed.
Oh, we're over here.
Fire department, get down. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Let's go. Bring the baby out here. Back up. Bring it out here. Bring it out here.
The officers fell into their routines, shouting commands, calling for backup, urging one another to bring the child out, demanding space, trying to maintain control. Some officers moved quickly to clear pathways. Others went searching for additional children. In the midst of this, a distraught woman stumbled into view. Sierra, the child's mother. Her eyes were red, her words frantic, her movements shaky. When officers confronted her, she tried to explain, but none of it made sense.
That's a month. No. Stay back.
We're not. They know shit that goes on over here. They know we're not okay. They've seen this shit.
Her statements were scattered, full of contradictions, blame, and emotional outbursts. She insisted that she had been trying to leave her partner, that she had no control over anything happening in the home, that she struggled to care for the other children alone. Officers pressed her for details. How long had the child been unresponsive? When had he last been seen alive? Why no one had called sooner? None of her answers formed a coherent timeline.
What happened? Hey, stay right there. Sit down.
I had to
Sit down.
on him because
Sit
if he
down.
hears me say anything,
Sit down.
he'll freak
Sit.
out.
Sit.
But they've
Sit.
seen
Sit.
him choke me.
Sit.
They've
Sit.
seen
Sit.
him
Sit.
abuse.
Sit.
They've seen it all in this house.
Who?
John.
Who's John?
John's the dad. He's the man that lives with Zena. She's nice, I promise.
Out of here.
He breaks me.
Out of here. Out of here.
I already said that too. I've been trying to get away from his abuse and save him, and half the time he's like, "No, you sit right there."
You want to see? You want to see?
And I'm like,
Did you see Sierra?
yes, I've seen
You did?
him.
No, look now. Look.
While interviewing her, officers continued to move through the house. They found 2 other young children sitting unattended on the porch, dirty but alive. Fire department personnel checked them quickly while officers kept them away from the interior. The house resembled a hoarder's residence. Piles of garbage, animal waste, broken furniture, and scattered belongings blocked almost every walkway. Even the officers, trained for high-stress environments, struggled not to gag. They whispered among themselves, stunned that any child had been living in such conditions.
That's your fault.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I can't work He's been saying he had control of my foot. I just got control of the
Take the
back.
mother, 2 kids up to the
I've
back of
been-
the fire truck.
And there's 2 more in there?
There's 2 more in there.
Word spread among the team. The deceased toddler appeared severely malnourished. His body was so thin, his skin so drawn, that even seasoned responders were shaken. One officer estimated, based only on appearance, that the child may have been dead for at least a week. They immediately ordered everyone not to touch anything. Crime scene integrity needed to be preserved. Outside, Sierra paced and cried, unable to sit still. Officers attempted to calm her long enough to gather information, but she alternated between blaming Jonathan, insisting she had tried to get help, and claiming she had checked on the child recently. Her emotions were intense, uncontrolled, and sometimes conveniently timed, raising suspicions among responders.
Give it to the boss.
You good if I put the dogs in the room?
As long as there's nobody in
Be
there.
honest, for 1 second.
Vince, let's go. Bring it up.
Last time you saw this child was yesterday.
He was really thin.
Make sure there's nobody in there. Get the dogs in there and then get her back out.
Meanwhile, responders needed answers from both parents. The officers asked when the child was last seen alive. Sierra insisted it was recently, claiming she had seen him the day before, that she had fed him, that she had checked his breathing. But her descriptions were vague and shifted constantly. She said she had tried to work, tried to keep up with the other children, tried to leave Jonathan, but nothing she said explained the child's condition or why he had been left in that state.
What, and 2? Can you find out where the kid was at and keep the dogs out of that area? She's in the fucking house screaming, dude. It's like a fucking hoarder house. There's 2 other kids in there. This kid's all fucking emaciated. Looks like it's been dead for weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then came the arrival of Jonathan, the father. He walked toward the house with an expression that shocked everyone, calm, emotionless, almost detached. Officers immediately approached him to question him about his whereabouts, what he knew, and when he had last seen the child.
Who are you? Okay. The father? Yeah. Okay. Okay, do you live here too?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Real quick, you got your ID on you?
Yes, sir.
Did she call you or something?
Yeah.
What? When's the last time you seen, is that your son?
Yeah.
When's the last time you seen him?
Storm?
This morning? Okay. How was he this morning? Fine? Okay. What time did you see him this morning, roughly?
12?
About 12 a.m.? p.m.? p.m.? Okay.
He spoke quietly, flatly, stating he had seen the boy that morning, that the boy had been sleeping, that he had merely touched his back and watched him shift. His details contradicted both the physical evidence and Sierra's claims, and his lack of emotional reaction only raised further suspicion. Officers pressed harder, asking what the child was wearing, what room he was in when he had left the house, and who else lived with them. His responses were brief, rarely extending past simple statements.
What was he doing at that time?
Sleeping?
Sleeping? And, well, where? What room specifically was he sleeping in?
The first bedroom right here.
This bedroom right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you pick up the baby at all, or what? What was your interactions with the baby?
I just rubbed his back. He moved a little.
Okay.
Got readjusted.
Nothing out of the ordinary for you, though? Okay. You remember what he was wearing?
Just his diaper.
Just his diapers? Okay. And about what time did you leave here?
About 2:30.
2:30? 2:30 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Officers knew immediately that something was deeply wrong. A child in this advanced state of starvation could not possibly have appeared fine that morning. The medical examiner later confirmed the child died from prolonged starvation, a slow, agonizing death. This revelation alone invalidated both parents' claims that the child had been recently healthy. Neighbors later told investigators that there had been ongoing issues at the home: suspected drug use, frequent fights, neglected children seen outside unsupervised, and repeated police visits over the years. But none of them had known a child was dying inside. Back at the scene, officers separated the parents. Sierra's grief intensified into loud sobbing and disjointed accusations. She often directed her emotions toward Jonathan, blaming him for everything, insisting she had been trapped, controlled, and prevented from seeking help.
Zero, can you stand up for me?
Yeah.
Turn and face your house. Put your hands behind your back. I'll put her in mine, Chang. Come on.
Jonathan, on the other hand, seemed almost eerily calm. He remained expressionless as officers searched him, secured his belongings, and prepared to place him in handcuffs. His lack of reaction stood in sharp contrast to Sierra's emotional breakdown.
Where'd you go from there?
I went straight to my dad's house because we were in the bricks in her car.
Okay.
We were going to do it before the snowstorm, but
Okay.
didn't have enough time.
Okay. And you live here? Okay. How long have you two been living here?
About 3 years.
About 3 years? Okay. Any medical history? Did the baby wake up at all or cry today while you were home?
Cried this morning. Yeah.
Cry this morning when you were here? Okay.
I was supposed to go to an orientation for work, but it sucked.
Eventually, both parents were placed under arrest. The evidence was overwhelming. A deceased child left in a crib for days, severe malnutrition, hazardous living conditions, conflicting stories, and no indication of attempts to seek help. In the patrol vehicle, Sierra continued to cry, speaking between sounds, expressing regret, anger, and despair. Officers tried to keep her calm, but her mood shifted rapidly from guilt to rage to devastation.
If it's wrong to admit now, I should have killed you a long time ago when you first beat me.
We're done. We're done.
It's more worth it than losing my son. I wish
Okay.
he was the one dead.
You got a bra on, I see?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to search my body cameras now, okay?
This is fine.
Jonathan remained silent through most of the process, answering only when required. To officers, it was as if he was emotionally disconnected from the reality around him. Both were transported for further questioning, and Child Protective Services took custody of the surviving children. Months later, the case moved to court, where prosecutors described it as one of the worst neglect cases they had ever encountered. The level of starvation observed in the toddler's body reflected long-term severe deprivation, something no explanation from either parent could justify.
This way.
Stand right here. Stick to the wall.
We're going to take all his clothes right now.
Okay.
Take the shoe.
Okay.
No, we're not going to book him right now. We can sell
Well, we're gonna book one of his warrants. You got 2 warrants out of us.
Okay, well, we can book them later.
Okay.
On that, I guess they don't want to book right now at all.
Okay.
So,
That works. Place your hands on the counter for me. They just called?
that's what Randall told me.
Okay.
Don't book them right now. We can sell them.
Okay. Was that like sometime between when I was en route here?
You just told me that when you called out
Okay.
that.
Okay, that works. Do me a favor. Can I have you take off your piercings? You don't want the piercings, right? Just the clothing. So what we're gonna have you do? You're gonna take off all your clothing. We're gonna give you sort of white jumpsuit.
Take the clothes or no? No.
The judge ultimately sentenced Jonathan to 24 to 50 years for second-degree murder, along with additional time for child abuse. Sierra received the same sentence for the murder charge, along with additional years for her role in the neglect. Their remaining children were placed into protective care.
No.
Let's not do that, okay?
In the end, the tragedy of a child who died slowly in silence left a permanent scar on everyone involved. The officers who found him, the investigators who worked the case, and the community that learned just how much suffering had been hidden behind closed doors. The tragedy stood as a haunting reminder that even in neighborhoods where people lived close together, unimaginable suffering could go unnoticed. And for the officers present that day, the child's lifeless body in the crib would be an image they would never forget.